Oh, okay. So this is your nutritional talk here. Okay. So leading into your competition. So mainly I just want to talk about, and this is optional in terms of your competition as well, okay? But the only thing that's not optional leading into this competition, as you can see in my point forms, is that the first thing and the last thing that I'm going to start and end with is that you should not be eating anything experimental now. Obviously, if you haven't been kind of testing it leading into the competition, or if you don't regularly have these things, then you shouldn't randomly just introduce it into your diet. Like, what if you have a bit of a upset tummy on the day? You don't want to do that. It's just going to be draining. You're going to not feel good, and maybe you'll just have a bad day in general. So don't eat anything experimental. Don't eat anything weird. Just stick with the things that you know. This is all just a bit of a kind of a guideline leading into your first competition. It's not as in depth as it would be if we were going to go into like your second competition, where I'd start to talk about your um manipulating your calories, your water intake, weighing in a little bit more accurately. Maybe we'll do like a water loading phase, a water cut leading into the competition, and then there's a much more a bigger conversation about your nutrition leading into this competition. But just for our first competition, mainly it's just to kind of get our fuel sources right and our body digesting correctly and fueled as best as we can for a competition. Do you know what I mean? Because in a sport where we want to feel and perform the best that we can and lift as much weight as we can, we obviously want to feel nice. All right. So your night before meal, okay? So your night before meal should be something like, again, non-experimental, but I would just say to reduce your fat intake, your night before meal, or even all of your meals the day before your competition, to reduce your fat intake. So because fat intake, or fatty foods or fatty meals, they slow down your digestive system, they linger in your body a little bit longer, and your body becomes sluggish and like doesn't perform as optimally as it can be. So if you stick with like cleaner foods, like your whole proteins, whole carbohydrates and stuff, and just your veggies and stuff, and just to allow to non-stress your body with complex foods like high fat foods. Do you know what I mean? Like high fat foods would be the likes of like really fatty foods, like, I don't know, pork belly or a ribeye steak or something like that, or I don't know what you might be cooking that is, or like naturally very high in fats, like a Chinese takeaway or something like that, or like a pizza with extra cheese and like a milkshake or something like that with it, or like, a big curry or something like that. So don't be doing stuff like that. We want to be digested. We want our tummy to feel nice. Do you know what I mean? Just to digest our food a little bit more smoothly. And this is the same for so the night before, you want to like adequate carbohydrates to fuel your body leading into this competition. Okay, so we want to be like pumped, a lot of carbs. Okay. Imagine you're like preparing yourself for like a long run. You'd want to carb up the day before. This is the same concept here, okay? And your protein, just to kind of like, don't be like going overboard with your protein or anything like that, because all of your recovery should have been done by that day already, anyways, okay? So then in your morning time, you want carbohydrates again, so the likes of like maybe your breakfast cereals, porridges, even like rice or pasta or something like that. uh like a bit of protein as well, like some eggs or chicken or whatever, just to kind of keep your protein intake there, some form of protein source within your body, circulating. But the main thing that we want is the carbohydrates to continue to fuel our body for this performance that we're going to participate in. And then you're also, I'm going to give you all the like kind of the theory behind it all, and then I'm going to give you the example of what I would have on a competition day. So then you have your intra carbs here. So intra carbs is the meals that you have during within the competition. Okay. So again, so actually, just to backtrack into your morning meals again, okay? So your morning meals should not include any fats either. Like obviously, the fats in your eggs is fine, but again, we just want a good digestive system. We want to be digesting our food efficiently and fast. We don't want things lingering in there, digesting slow, and just like this is how our body feels sluggish. So your intra carbs is your during meals, okay? So this is basically going to be again carbohydrates. Do you know what I mean? We're fueling our body for carbs. You're going to include a bit of protein intake, protein in there again, just to keep the protein circulating within your blood system, just for that kind of active recovery within our training as well. There's no point leaving it out, but we don't want to go overboard on our protein again in our morning and our intra meals because you know because it's not that necessary to have or to tax our body to digest so much protein that is more taxing than it would be digesting like carbs, which is like your likes of oats, rice, pastas, potatoes, sweets, jellies, chocolate, stuff like that. Your snacks, okay? So your snacks are going to be your purely sugar, essentially. Do you know what I mean? Like this is just to kind of keep, after like imagine you're going after your squats, and after your squats, those are heavy squats. There's a lot going on in the day. There's not only physical fatigue but mental fatigue and stuff like that, and we just want to keep perked up. So you're gonna have stuff like your jellies, your chocolates, and stuff for that. What I would kind of recommend is stuff like your Rice Krispie bars, which is like your simple carbs that digest them very fast and easy. It's not heavy in the tummy either. And then you have like your non-confectionery, your natural confectionery company jellies and stuff, or your Sour Patch Kids, a bit of sourness that perk you up and stuff. Again, this is all guidelines. I've seen people like do it without. You can have a muffin. I've seen people eat muffins back there, chocolate muffin, or like what else? What other crazy stuff can do people be having back there for? I don't know. Anything. Do you know what I mean? And then your after meal can be anything. Do you know what I mean? Again, there's a microwave there at the competition, so you can heat up your meals. You can heat up your intra meal. You can heat up your after meal, especially if you want to stick around and watch the pro competition on Saturday or the pro ams on Sunday. Those are all very strong people. Especially the pros. Those guys are mad strong, the strongest people in Europe. So I definitely recommend to stick around to watch that kind of stuff. So if you were to bring your intra meals during your own competition, your after meal for after your competition, you can heat it up there. Your choice. Uh, yeah. Hydration. Okay, so what you're gonna do for hydration is like water, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Drink enough water. Don't be drowning yourself in the water for the sake of trying to get hydrated. Do you know what I mean? Just don't be not drinking water. This is going to be like before the day before the competition, during your competition. Just have a bottle of water, even if it was like one of those 1.5 liters, 1 liter bottle of water, just to kind of keep it on top of you. But then, like, the main source of, I'm not going to say hydration, but the liquids that you're going to take in is like your energy drinks and your caffeinated drinks. I don't know if you are all into your like monsters and your rains and whatever, but you know that's what I would be drinking on the competition. If that's not something that you normally drink, then don't drink it. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. Do you know, like I don't see anything wrong with having one if you don't usually drink it. But like it because that's the day to have one. It's like again like. Even if you think about it, going after your squats is three squats on the platform, but it's still quite taxing, especially as we go into the bench press. Um, Things tend to kind of slow down a little bit more. The bench press is more relaxing, and then you want to kind of perk yourself up Reawaken yourself for deadlifts because that's another big one, you know. So that's when you start caffeinating up again for your deadlifts. So again, it's just to kind of maintain this kind of awakeness for the whole thing. Make sure you're kind of like fully functional mentally and physically. Caffeine does help with oxygen absorption and delivery within the body, so it is known to increase performance. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't drink so much caffeine that you feel sick, but like, I wouldn't not have any. I would have some. Do you know what I mean? So in the morning time, maybe get a coffee in. When you get there and you start warming up for squats, start drinking a monster. That's what I would do, you know? And then during your bench press, start sipping away in a monster. And then for deadlifts, you know, you probably had enough caffeine by then anyways, but you can have another one if you want to. Something like that. So your energy drinks are monsters, your Reigns, Red Bulls, whatever you're usually drinking, and then or just coffees. If you're into like coffees, hot coffees, cold coffees, make some cold coffees and bring some with you. They also do instant coffee at the competition as well. So remember, actually a note to mention about your after meal. That is that they do sometimes do burgers there. I wouldn't rely on it because they don't always do it, but that's a potential after meal that you can have, you know. Another form of hydration, I would recommend, especially the day before your competition and during your competition, like especially after your squats or something like that, is to have some form of diurolite. Oh, or the new one is called ORS, is the brand name, you know. So I don't have one here, but it kind of comes in a tube like this. So this is a similar one here, but this is like a hydration one for like traveling and work and play. That's what it says on the tube here. You know, I'm not 100% sure of its like mineral breakdown, but the idea of your diurolite or your rehydrating supplements, I guess they are, is that you're re-supplementing your body with adequate amounts of electrolytes and minerals. Do you know what I mean? Like the electrolytes are your sodiums and stuff, that potassiums and stuff. Those are all in charge of grabbing your muscles to perform the movement. You know, if you go into the cellular level of your muscles, it is sodium that performs the neurological link and electrical signals to the muscles to perform the muscles to grab and to move, you know. So if you're having like a low sodium intake, you're just naturally not going to be as strong, you know. So you know, salt your food leading up into the competition. I heavily salt my food. Salt is not bad for you. Not drinking enough water is bad for you. Do you know what I mean? So whenever people say like, oh, salt's bad for you and stuff, it's not bad for you. They just don't drink enough water to compensate the amount of sodium that they're taking in, especially in this sport, you know. So yeah, I would recommend jumping on that. Have a diurolite the night before. Have a diurolite, you know, during your squats and stuff like that. And just like I would bring like one of those 300 milliliter bottles of water and just like put one or two packets of diurolite into it, or like, you know, two or three of those ORS tablets into the water, and I'll just like have it in my bag, and I'll drink like after my squats, I'll just drink like half of it, you know, just to kind of pop up my body again. During bench, I'll drink the other half of it, so then my body is like fully refueled and rehydrated and re-electrolyted up for my deadlifts, you know. And then your creatine, you should be still taking your creatine anyways. I just thought I'd mention that because just in case you been forgetting. So yeah, remember to take. You don't need to take extra creatine. You just need to continue to take your creatine. Remember, your creatine provides the platform to hold the additional energy source for performing your big lifts. You know, so in your big lifts, when you're maxing out at RPE 10, your body is using an energy source called adenosine triphosphate, ATP. So as your body launches these like these this energy, adenosine triphosphate, it turns into adenosine diphosphate. Okay, so it's missing one particle, and your creatine is what holds that missing particle to refuel that particle, your adenosine, to turn your adenosine diphosphate back to triphosphate to for another RPE10 attempt. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't have enough creatine in your body, there's no platform to hold additional energy source for your next lift. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. If I haven't broken that down to you before, so just to give you a little bit of a example of what I would usually have leading up into these competitions. Again, I would be very plain in my eating. I wouldn't go anything crazy. So the night before, I would have like pasta with like bolognese sauce, like a jar of spaghetti sauce, loads of pasta, and just like chicken, or like lean mince or something like that, and just a lot of that, And the sauce is it's all non like not high in fats, So I would just have a lot of that pasta and chicken. The morning I would have pasta and chicken with no sauce, but I would like emphasize my salt on it. So I would have like, for example, I would have more pasta than I would have chicken. Obviously, do you know what I mean? Like my chicken, I might have like 100 grams of chicken, but I might have like 150 grams of pasta, or even less chicken. And then my intra carbs is mainly pasta. So it's all like, 100 to 150 grams of pasta and like a bit of chicken just to kind of keep it going. Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't like put veggies into your morning meal or your intra meal anymore because we want it to be fast digesting, and veggies is fibrous and slows that down a little bit. Your snacks again are going to be like your Rice Krispie squares. Highly recommend. Get a whole pack of them. Bring them all. Eat them as you feel. Ready to jellies. Those are easy to eat as well. Um, a muffin. That's nice, So bring one of those. After meal, bring out whatever you want. Same with your intra meal as well, like there's loads of those like ready meals in like Tesco's and stuff. Like highly recommend those are really nice, and they're like easy as well. They're nice, they're easy, they're nicely balanced in terms of macros, and you just throw them in the microwave. Like other options could be just like rice or like mashed potatoes or something like that, and yeah, like any meat, any lean meat, chicken or whatever. I hope that this video has been useful. It was very rambly, I think. I probably could have structured that a little bit more efficiently, but there we go. It is what it is. I've made it now. And again, nothing. Don't be experimental in your food. See, like don't be eating anything experimental. So, yeah, any questions, please ask me. Sometimes I'm surprised at how little questions you guys are putting forward to me. So please ask me any questions that you have, and yeah, even about this video. Okay, thanks, guys.